Ho ho ho. Hi all, Ryan here. Welcome to my channel, RyRy McGUY. I'm not Santa. I've got the hat, I've got the beard, I've got the glasses, maybe the belly. But thanks for joining me today. I know it's a busy time for everyone, so I appreciate the time that you make to kind of tune in and take a break from all your worries and stress of the holiday season. I know I'm looking out the window right now, and the weather's pretty brutal. I mean, yeah, we're in blizzard central right now. A lot of the city is shut down, and I think that that's true for a lot of North America. So anyway, keep safe, keep warm. Don't be out on the roads if you don't have to. And if you're watching this in the summer, you're not going to have a clue what I'm talking about. So enjoy your sun. Anyway, we've got some stitching to talk about today. We've got a little bit of knitting. We've got quite a few finishes actually, and a lot of them are ornaments. So maybe we'll just dive right in. So if you're new, thanks for popping in. That's what we're talking about, stitching, sewing, sometimes knitting, fiber arts. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. You've really helped make this year be an amazing one for me, and I am so grateful. I can't thank you enough. I'm recording this on the 23rd, I think. So yeah, so the December the 23rd, and this is my 12th Flosstube episode. So the stars kind of align, 12, 12. So anyway, let's get busy. We've got no time to waste. I've got my cocoa here. I don't know if I should keep the hat on. Let's see how long it lasts. Okay, so if you joined me last time in November, I shared two projects with you that are both going to be Christmas tree ornaments, and I did manage to finish them both. The first one we'll talk about, and I shared a photo just recently on my Instagram, but this is my, it's pretty small. I don't know if, oh, there you go. This is courtesy of Jeannette, and this little fellow is known as Candy Gingerbread Mouse. And yeah, last time I'd finished the stitching. I didn't cut it out yet. It's essentially a strawberry if you turn it upside down. But yeah, it's a cute tiny little mouse. He's got a candy cane charm. He's got a little antique button, or sorry, a coin on the bottom, and his little wire tail. There we go. His little wire tail. And yeah, this ended up being a lot smaller than I had anticipated. For some reason, I don't know why I thought it would be bigger, but yeah, he's really cute. And when I was assembling him, or her, it's Mose, when I was assembling it, I thought, how is this going to work? Because the tail is so heavy. And then so he kept falling back, and then I sewed the little coin on the bottom, and it was like, oh, well, that makes sense. He's really anchored now. And then when I added the charm, he was even more balanced. So to be honest with you, I thought it might be a decoration to hang in a tree, kind of like that. But you know, he looked kind of right at home with all of the squirrels that I've arranged on our mantelpiece here. We've got a lot of squirrel decorations. You'll see there's kind of a theme going on with that. But yeah, it's Candy Gingerbread Mouse. Jeannette, it was a limited edition, I think, for 2020. I used all of the called for flosses, all of the embellishments that came in the kit, and like I said, a little smaller than anticipated, and that's okay. I just thought that it would be bigger, but in fact, it's actually even sweeter, so tiny. So that's my mouse. So he'll go back on the mantle as soon as we finish here. Another item that you saw me stitching last time was a cabin Pinkeep. Sorry, I have to consult my cards here. Gingerbread, we talked about cabin Pinkeep. It's from the Prairie Schooler. I think, did I finish all of the stitching or most of it? Anyway, this is my finished project. So what did I use here? It's by the Prairie Schooler. It's from actually a Just Cross Stitch magazine, published in 2002. So it was like 20 years ago. And honestly, it's still really sweet. I really, you know, it's timeless. It's a timeless design. It was on a 40 count antique Zweigart something. What's the classic antique? Country Mocha. That was it. Antique Country Mocha. And honestly, I didn't know how to finish it with the how to hang it or anything. What I had on hand was a black ribbon, and I know it's not exactly very Christmassy, so I threw a few bells on it. I don't know. Yeah, if you can hear it. I threw a few bells on it. I put these little silver beads on the end of this, but this is just secured with a pin, so I can always take it out when I decide to maybe make a cord using the green or using the red. The floss that I used, it's Leo and Roxy for the black and the red, and then the green was just the called for DMC. So it's really sweet. The back, I have to say, the back I didn't know how to finish, and I wanted to keep it fairly light. So I ended up just gluing a rectangle of black felt on the back. So yeah, that did the trick. It was an easy finish. It's clean. It keeps it light. And it's a nice scale for the tree. So, like I said, I'm just not sure if I'm sold on the black ribbon. But I have to be honest. I mean, if you lose the bells, I mean, what about this screams Christmas? I mean, nothing really. There's not even a wreath on the door. You know, it's a green tree and a fence and a house with a cardinal. So, yeah, you know, I can have this up all year round. Anyway. Cabin Pinkeep, Prairie Schooler from Just Cross Stitch magazine, 2002. What's next? Oh yes, this did I think I stitched some of it for the last one. And this I made as part of a class, a seminar that was offered through this online event called the Jingle Ball, hosted by Steph of Lindy Stitches, and it was such a fun event. I didn't know what to expect. It was the first time I attended anything like it, and I think everyone had a really awesome time. So. The course that I took was hosted by Tracy Horner Ink Circles. Tracy Horner is the designer, and she offered a class called Swedish Neat Bells. So Swedish because I think the inspiration for the design came from some vintage or antique Swedish linens, and neat bells, well, because it's got the bells. And so the class was more about finishing into an ornament. So I did the stitching ahead of time, and which surprisingly I got it done before the course. And yeah, it was this clever little origami technique on the back. It's hand stitched, and it's not perfect, but I think it's a process that anyone can do. It's done. It doesn't need to be a small design. It's sort of a diamond shaped, but the grain of the fabric goes this way. And and then you just fold the four corners and stitch it up and stuff it, and you can embellish it however you want. So yeah, this was one of several designs that she had offered as part of the class, and her finishing included an organza ribbon and some bells, and that was how I finished this. And yeah, I actually did this technique before using a Mill Hill, the Mill Hill beaded ornament kits, and I brought a couple of them up here. I can show you in a second. I'm not sure how to finish this bow. Tracy did a lovely job with bows and little jingle bells on the end, and it's not really speaking to me. In fact, I think Peter said it looked kind of like a person with legs dangling. So I might just lose the bells down here altogether, or even the bow, and just put another bell down there. I think that would work out. So there we have Ink Circles, Swedish neat bells, a little holiday ornament. You know, I said the mouse was small, you know, by comparison. This is the mouse, and that's the Ink Circles ornament. And this ended up being bigger than I expected. But that's okay. I don't mind. And also, I mean, if you lose the bells, this doesn't necessarily have to read Christmas either. I mean, you can hang it on a door handle or a drawer pull, and you know, maybe without the bells, it could be quite at home. So, yeah, I likely won't end up tucking this away after the Christmas season is over. One other class that I took, I shared the results of that class was a pin making class offered by Beth of Heartstring Samplery, and it was just essentially decorating and embellishing little pins. So this was sort of my only real holiday related pin that I did, sort of a blown glass mint, which I think is quite sweet. But I really did have fun decorating with some other beads that I had in my possession. Sorry, let me just see. So yeah, take a look at an Instagram. You can maybe get a bit better picture. And so yeah, I really went to town. It's very simple. I mean, you need glue and some beads and little embellishments, and of course the pins. And I think, you know, I love these as a tool when it comes to cross stitching. And if I ever get around to making that video that I promised about my top 10 tools, I certainly will talk about these pins and how I use them in my own craft, and that might help you understand why I find them valuable with the process for me. So anyway, it's another reminder for me of the Jingle Ball 2022. So thanks, Beth, and thanks, Steph, and thank you, Steph, for all of your hard work hosting it. It really was awesome, and I'm positive that it was such a success that it will be happening again in 2023. So sign up, keep your eye out, do what you can. It's a Jingle Ball. You know what? I think maybe I'm gonna lose the hat. How's that? I just gotta fix the haar. Okay, that's a little bit better. So where did we leave off? Oh yeah, I talked about a couple of the Mill Hill decorations that I made using the same technique. So this is two of them. It's a beaded project. I mean, there's some stitching in it, but I made this one in 2021. This one was in 2020, or vice versa, and they're quite cute. If you like if you like doing beads, I think you'll enjoy this, or these particular kinds of kits. And the tassel treatment out of the beads was really nice as well. And anyway, the reason I'm bringing these up is the construction technique is the same as Tracy's, and I'll just show you. This is, I don't know if you can see that closely. This is what my back looks like before I took Tracy's class, and this is what the back looks like after. So, you know, I think I overstuffed it. You can see the stitches pulling a little bit, but yeah, it's sort of like a before and a after, before, after. So, you know, takes practice, takes a little bit of knowledge, but yeah, I'm very happy with how those worked out. So we're just blasting through this here. We've got one last ornament that I worked on here that I want to share with you now. And if you've watched me at all over this past year, you'll know I'm a big fan of Jeannette Douglas and her mini bouquets. I've been trying to do unique finishes for each of the months as we've been going along, and I thought what would be nice for the month of December is to turn it into a little Christmas ornament. And Michael's had some cute little frames on sale, and I picked this one up. And how are we doing? Is that looking good? There we go. So because I've been stitching them individually, I haven't had a chance to incorporate the border at all, or yeah, I haven't used the border in any of my particular finishes. So I thought for the last one of the year, I would like to sort of pay homage and do a little tribute to that. So the bottom border is the one that goes around the entire, if you choose to stitch all 12 months on the same linen, that this border surrounds the entire piece as a full border, and then this top border was one of the dividing bands in between the months horizontally. So I'm really happy with the way that this turned out, and on the tree, it's really sweet. It's just 2 inches across, like the opening. So the actual bouquet is just over an inch, I would say. And I used a linen. It's a 40 count, 36 or 40 count ivory linen. And the threads that I used here, again, thanks to Hillary, she sent me a bunch of her hand-dyed silks from Vicky Clayton. So this was the last of it. I really milked it right to the end. So I'm happy that it made it through to the year. So I don't know what I'm going to do come next year. I've got those lovely charts that the 2 charts that Jeannette kindly sent me. So, you know, I've always got those waiting for me. But as a yearly stitch along, this was the perfect size. It was the perfect amount of stitching. It would take me an evening or 2 at most, and that afforded me the time to put into doing a little more creative finishes on them. And I mean, this is one of the easiest. I mean, really, I just wrapped it around a board and popped it in the frame. So, you know, I'm hiding this here. There's a snowflake with the year 2022 on it, which, you know, is okay. It doesn't, I find it doesn't relate to the motif, so I'll probably snip it off. I've got another 2022 charm. If I want to mark the year, I can do that as well. So that's the last of my Jeannette Douglas mini bouquets at December 2022. Thanks, Jeannette. What else? Swedish meatballs, Jeannette. I don't think I showed you this project in a previous video. It was actually one of the first ones I've worked on that kind of got me back or sort of introduced or reintroduced me to stitching in this recent venture. And it's a chart that I picked up when I was visiting a friend in Paris, and he drove me around the city on his little motorbike, and it was so much fun. And one of the places we stopped at was a needlepoint shop called Bonheur des Dames, and I think they've moved, and because I Google it and I don't recognize the location on the map where, I mean, it's in a different spot than I thought it was. Regardless, it's still in business, and they offer other charts. They offer their own charts, and so I'll just show you. This is the one. Are we getting a? How can we not get a reflection? I guess that's kind of as close as we're going to do, eh? This is called Macarons, and it's on a linen Aida, which is really fun to work with. And yeah, it's on a linen Aida, and it's, I think, just DMC. It was a whole kit, so it came with the linen, the chart, a needle, and the floss. And yeah, this is really my first serious project stitching, and one of the things that they called for as a technique was here. How does that look? That damn ring light, eh? We need to get rid of that. One of the things that the project called for was using blended threads. So the chart called for stitching with two pulled strands of floss over two linen threads, and for some of the designs, some of the colors, we had to take one strand of two different colors and combine them. And I was a newbie, and at the time I'm thinking, well, you know, the threads should be twisted. I mean, if it's 2-ply, they're twisted. So I worked very hard at blending the two different colors into one 2-ply strand of floss. And I've learned since then, I know that that's not exactly how it should work. You want the threads to lie parallel to each other so they reflect the light. The light bounces nicely off of them without scattering it, so it looks smooth and shiny. It gives a better finish. And so this is not perfect, but you know what? It's good enough for me. And sorry guys, I just really had to get rid of that ring light. It was driving me crazy. So back to this. Oh, that's better. It might be a bit darker, but at least we can see it without reflection now. And the reason I wanted to get rid of the ring light was to talk about the way that I constructed this. It's just a reasonably priced frame from Winners. I think it was like $10, and it has a floating frame concept. So I don't know if you can tell, but oh, there we go. Maybe this way. Can we see? Yeah. What I did was I used a lacing technique on a piece of matting board, and the technique I used was actually demonstrated in a video courtesy of Nicola Parkman, who showed off her technique, and it was very instructive and informative, and I really learned a lot. One of the things she said was to try to use a thread that matches the color of your linen, because you don't want it to stand out. But to be frank, and she used a really contrasting color of thread, so you could really see what she was doing, which I appreciated. And honestly, it was such a work of art. I would have kept it a separate color, but I mean this, you're not going to see it at all. But I like the fact that you can kind of tell that it's laced, and And so thank you, Nicola, for the tutorial, and it worked out. I'm still not sold on the gray, but and it's got a bit of a wood grain. I tried white, but it was too harsh a contrast. I think this is fine for now. Anyway, it's makes me really happy to see that it's finally fully finished after a few years. So yeah, that's that. What else? What else do I have? Oh, are we on to whips? I think we are on to works in progress. Thanks for all the love, by the way, with this project bag that I made. It everyone seemed to really enjoy it, at least who commented, and it was a really fun project to make up. So, what we're going to talk about now, if you have Instagram, I'm sure you've seen, this is the Holiday Countdown Stitch Along, courtesy of Evertote, and it is a combined or a joint venture with Roxy Floss Co., who provided the floss, and Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery, who actually did the designs. And I bought the chart as a whole, but a lot of people bought the actual Advent or Countdown kit, where every day was wrapped separately, so you reveal that particular chart of the day. And I've been loving watching everyone work so hard at keeping up with it, and it's truly stunning. In fact, I think maybe I'll share someone, Michelle G, Bendy Stitchy. She's been good at keeping up and sharing her progress. So if that's okay, Michelle, I hope that's okay. This is what it looks like to date. And I didn't get the kit. I got just the chart, which means I didn't get the floss that came with everyday stitching. So thanks to the diligent work of my friend Gwyneth, who did get the kit. She was keeping me posted on the particular colors of the day. And I did my best to keep up until I got to, I think, day 9. So this is where I am. And, oh, I see, I forgot that little bit up there. So I did my best to sort of keep up with it, and I wanted to honor the palette that was chosen. I don't know how it was decided, if it was a collective achievement or if it was exclusively the designer, but I wanted to pay respect to the palettes, the colors that were chosen for the palette. And I was doing really well up until I think Rudolph came along, and that really threw me for a loop. And then the I think this color was called Third Place. It's sort of a bronzy gold, and I chose too light of a color for it, so it really kind of threw everything off for me. So I stopped. Also this pink, the Pocanil, the pink that's up here and over here is too light. So Gwyneth and my friend Ellen went to an open house that was hosted by Caroline at Evertote, and they were kind enough to pick up a floss. They started offering them for sale, the ones that were part of the kit, what little that she had left. And they did manage to pick up the pink for me. So I'm going to have to pull out the pink and put in the darker pink, and then I'll work my way through and see how I can incorporate the rest of the colors. They also gave me Grinch, but I liked this green that I picked a lot. This should be more of a chartreusey green, but I think for the color of my fabric, which is, sorry about that, it's Tinsmith. Yeah, Tinsmith 36 count color in cotton. and the linen is just stuff from my stash, or sorry, the floss is just stuff from my stash. So such a beautiful design, like really such a beautiful design, and I already have ideas on how I want to fully finish this. So that's kind of my only work in progress that I'm actively working on right now. The rest, my plans for 2023 are to kind of work my way through my other works in progress and kind of clear them off the deck and make way for some of the beautiful new charts that I have. So what did I miss? Where are we now? Oh, what's this? Oh, I guess talking about plans and new charts, this might be under acquisitions. Back to Modern Folk Embroidery, his stitch along for 2023, it's called Reaching Skyward. And oh my gosh, golly gee. Like, just feast your eyes on this baby. And this is not a mystery sampler, and this is not a sampler where he will be releasing each of the months as we get to that month. All of the months are included in this chart, in this particular chart, and he also has some beautiful alternatives. Oh, here's a good example you can see in this center medallion. There's one version of it. Here's another version of that center panel, and he has available for sale a chart package that includes just a whole bunch of these center medallions as stitching options. And honestly, I want to pick it up because they're all so beautiful, and any one of them on its own would be really stunning. And a lot of the other motifs he's giving alternatives for along this centerpiece, the side pieces, some of the banding. He's giving a lot of alternatives. So in a way, Jacob's kind of offering a kind of a roll your own adventure project, and it'll be great to see what everyone decided to choose to stitch and how they vary and the colors. This, I think, uses two. It's just a two-color chart, and they have suggested colors, and I might go with them because I find them quite beautiful. It's neutral, but eye-catching enough. So Modern Folk Embroidery, Reaching Skyward, Stitch Along 2023. And another acquisition that I should have mentioned earlier, this is in the Jingle Ball. It was put on with 12 cross-stitch designers, and two I mentioned, Lindy Stitches and Heartstrings Samplery, and another participant in this initiative was Erica, the brand Erica Michaels, and every designer had an exclusive or multiple exclusive offerings for those who attended, and let me tell you, it was pretty hard to decide. I really worked hard at kind of controlling myself, and I do want to do a drum though, and Erica Michaels does some beautiful drums, and this is a chart that I picked up from her online shop that she had open for Jingle Balls. It's called Christmas Countdown. It's an exclusive, and I don't know if that exclusivity period has expired yet, or if it will expire next year. In any case, it was sweet enough, exclusive or not, that I just had to pick it up. And that's the drum that I would like to stitch, just as the word December wrapped around it. And it acts as kind of a countdown calendar, so it would be nice. You could have a little charm or something to move as we work our way through the month of December. And no one does a strawberry better than Erica Michaels, so this was just another recent acquisition. And to walk away, I bought, they had on offer a chart pack that had one unique design created by each of the 12 designers for Jingle Ball, and I did pick that one up as well because, I mean, how could you not? So it'll be a nice collector's item, and yeah, fun to revisit that event. So we talked about that. We talked about the Frisian band sampler, some stitchy kindness. We can get into, again, if you follow me on Instagram, I think just today, in fact, I shared an early Christmas present from a company called Cedar River Linen and Design. This is a new initiative by my friend Jody. You can find her on her Flosstube channel as Trixie Tricycle, and so now she's offering some beautiful, beautiful hand-dyed linens, and she was gracious enough to share some of them with me. And right now she's got 5 colors. She has an amazing video where she actually goes into a lot more detail than I will, and she does it far more justice than I ever could. But I'll put a link to her video before where she talks about each of these colors and the inspiration for the brand and the color names, and they're just gorgeous. I mean, there's so many awesome hand dyers out there who make beautiful hand dyed linen, and you know, fortunately, there's room in the market for everyone. And what I particularly like about Jody's linen is that the modeling is not, I mean, they're just beautiful tonal shades that you can't really find just kind of off the bolt, but they also don't have those all the variations and variegations and multiple shades in the linen. So it gives you a really nice smooth surface of a really nice smooth expansive color where you might want to show off the hand-dyed floss. So because I find, you know, kind of the modeled linen with the hand-dyed variegated floss can get a little too much sometimes. So all this to say, Albarium is the name of this color, and the one in particular that I have in mind for a project, red cedar. I mean, this is just gorgeous. You can see, you know, it does have that hand-dyed quality for sure, but you can just see how subtle the variations in the colors are. This is the one that I've had my eye on in particular. It's called Arboreal, and the project I have in mind for this is who's the designer? I'll put the designer's name here. It's Peacock, a unicorn, the badger, and it's based on beautiful old tapestry, and several of my friends are stitching it. Jody for one, and Nicky Noodle for another. And I think that the concept, the reason why I would like a fabric like this is the piece itself is full coverage. Put it here. The piece itself is full coverage, and a majority of the background is done in this green, and I think that this would be a beautiful green to act as a background and avoid all of that stitching, because, you know, me in full coverage, I mean, that's a bit of a stretch. So anyway, please check her out. She's such a beautiful person, and I do wish her all the best with her endeavors. I know already she's adjusted her fulfillment time because of the volume of orders that she's had coming in. So good on you, Jody. What else? Oh yes. So related to Stitchy Kindness and related to the season. This is from a viewer who was the recipient of one of my giveaways, who I hope she finally got it. I'm so sorry for the delay. Her name is Tam. Do I have that right? Yeah, Tam. And she created this truly stunning work of art. I mean, just to call it an ornament isn't doing it justice. And this is based on Ukrainian. In Ukraine, every region, like any handicraft, different regions may have different focuses on different elements. And there's a region of Ukraine that does a lot of white work, and it kind of looks like hardanger, but it's not. And I wish, I don't know how close I can get so we can see the detail. It's just really so beautiful. So beautiful. So she stitched this. The design is created by Terry Bay. It's Ukrainian whitework ornament, and the design is called Hope. So I mean, what better message could we have, especially for the the Ukrainian people, than an ornament that says hope. So thank you so much, Tam and Tamara, and in that spirit, as I might have mentioned in the past, December is an interesting month for me. It's happy because of the holidays, but it's also the anniversary of my father's passing, and also his birthday. They were 4 days apart, so that mid-December is always a bit of an interesting and emotional time for me. And what I wanted to do, it wasn't sad, but I wanted to honor that period in some way. And I actually got into stitching because of my Ukrainian ancestry and heritage, and I wanted to start designing my own stuff. So in the spirit of Ukrainian cross-stitching and ornament, I decided to create my own. And I was digging through my old files, and I found a pattern that I was working on. It was like just a repeating motif, and I thought, this actually might read as holly. So guys, I actually made my first design, and I stitched it, and I fully finished it. So this, I don't know what we're going to call it, Ukrainian Christmas ornament. I made the tassel, I made the floss twisted cord. It's got 3 colors, and I stitched it on linen provided by Brennan needle, and it's called Tea and Teutons. I actually used it for my, where is it? This is also Tea and Teutons, so you can see Tea and Teutons. I thought, as Christmas ornaments, they'll have something to connect the two. And I actually used 3 colors for this stitching. And the 3 colors, well, 2 of them, they're all Roxy Floss Co. And 2 of them happen to be ones that were included in the holiday countdown. And so I'll just share them with you here. This one is Rudolph. And this one is Grinch. I think I mentioned that to you before. And I really liked how these 2 looked together. And I dug through my floss stash, and I found another Roxy color called Prairie. And so I thought the two greens with the colors are looking pretty true to life here. The red in real life is a little brighter. It's got a little more blue than what's showing on the camera here. It's a little more vivid and saturated. And I thought, yeah, it would be a really nice berry color. So that's what I used to stitch my first design. I had visions of creating a chart and releasing it, and freebie for Christmas, but obviously that didn't happen. Maybe I'll get my act together in time for Ukrainian Christmas. But what I wanted to do was a conversion, and so I actually found 3 DMC colors that match quite closely, I have to say. And can we see side by side? That's a bit of a mess, but nothing can compare to hand-dyed linen, and Carrie does such an amazing job creating such beautifully unique colors, especially for this holiday countdown. But you know what? I don't hate these DMC colors either. In fact, I started stitching it on Aida fabric, and this is what I just started. I wanted to see what it looked like with the colors. And I didn't get very far, but it was more just like a little study in the colors, and just to see what the difference would be. And it's looking a little lighter here on the camera, but in real life they're both fairly intense. I guess it's just the way the light is reflecting off of it. So that's my very first design that I finished, guys. This Ukrainian Christmas ornament, and like I said, if I get my act together, I might find a way to share it with whomever might be interested in stitching it prior to Ukrainian Christmas. So that is that. What else do we have? Okay, last time I recorded, I talked about my new acquisition. It was quite a major acquisition. I bought a sewing machine, and for those that were asking, the brand is Juki. It's a Japanese brand, and I bought it through the national distributor here in Canada. They're based out of Winnipeg. It was on the recommendation of Caroline from Evertote, and Carrie at Roxy Flosco also has one, and it came highly recommended, and it's the TL2010Q. And let me tell you guys, I've not used a domestic machine that even comes close to how awesome and amazing it is. It's fully mechanical, no digital or LED or fancy stitches, purely straight stitch, but man, can it stitch. So I think the last time I said for a giveaway, it's kind of connected to my machine, and the fact that we reached 2,000 subscribers, I said I was going to make 2 needle books, and so that's exactly what I did. I made needle book number 1, needle book number 2. And it was fun trying different techniques, and this one uses fabric that I used in one of the first project bags that I made. And what was unique about this is it features a magnetic closure. So I thought instead of futzing with buttons and ribbons and bows and ties and laces, I wanted to do something nice and easy. So I had these magnetic snaps, and it gives a nice clean front. And you can use it as a thread bed. It's got some pockets, one on either side. And I'm not sure exactly what everyone uses these for, but I've seen them in a few, and I actually have used them to put little bits of thread that are too short to go into the Ort jar, but are long enough that I can use for another part of the project. So I'll just slip them through there. So that worked out fine. So that was needlebook number 1, and needlebook number 2 was this one. I went away from the magnet. I just used that looks better. I used an elastic closure that actually just comes from a hairband I just cut, and it's got a pocket down here, Again, felt, you can turn this into a thread bed, and a little spot up here. Again, same loop concept, and you can maybe clip a pair of scissors or something, and then a little square of felt to keep track of your needles. So yeah, so I'm going to give these two away. Unfortunately, I'm taping this now before I used the random comment generator to pick a name. So for the YouTube people, let's slide over here, and in post when I'm editing this, I'll share the winner's name here. I'll also contact them as well. So that's for YouTube. And the other one that I wanted to do on Instagram as a giveaway, I'll just randomly select from my subscribers there, pick a number, and then that will be the subscriber number, and I'll notify the recipient on Instagram there. So thank you for those who were interested in getting a needle book and for participating. I really appreciate it. And you know, as I was mentioning to my friends, I love the concept of a needle book, and I'd love to help. I'd love to take it to the next level. And if you want to help me, please share your ideas and on what it is that I can include. You know, for instance, this page felt kind of empty, and I don't know if I should have included something here. I didn't want to put a zipper or anything. I wanted to keep it fairly clean and light. And I didn't know if I should put another insert of the felt. But yeah, if you have any opinion or experience or something that you'd like to see that might be unique in a needle book or a thread bed, you know, please let me know in the comments, or feel free to drop me an email. You know the drill. So that's my needlebook adventure. Am I at the end? Oh no, I have one more. Speaking of giveaways, the last giveaway that we have is courtesy of Ellen Reed of Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour. She is now designing under the name Maximum Cross Stitch, and she is killing it, absolutely killing it. So I'm so happy for her, and people are just eating up the designs. It's so great to see this one in particular. There's always room, and I am giving away one of these. What I will do is I will buy it directly through the Evertote website, and I will just put the recipient's name as the mailing address, if that's okay. Again, I'm taping this before I drew the name, so I will post it here. Apologies for the messy editing. I'll just post it here. So congratulations, whomever you are, and I'm sure that you'll enjoy stitching it along with everyone else. So Maximum Cross Stitch, there is always room. I think, you know, I keep saying I'm at the end. So I have two things left. One is just a fun thing to share. You know, it's the holidays now, and my mom used to stitch back in the 80s and the early 90s, and she gave my sister and I a set of little stockings that we used to at each place setting for the Christmas dinner. We'll tuck a cutlery in, and here, I'll just show you. So these go back quite a few years, and so this is her handiwork, and it's nice to have the stitching and the finish. Don't ask me who the designers are. Like I said, these go back to the 80s, so your guess is as good as mine. If people want to know, you know, have at it in the comments below. Maybe people can share information. Anyway, my true love gave to me. I'm assuming that's a partridge because there's some pears. Merry Christmas. We love a good pun. And I was saying we'll tuck the cutlery and a napkin inside here, and put it on top of the plate for the holiday dinner at Christmas time. So Merry Christmas. There's another lovely pun. Have a perfect Christmas. Very much the style back then. I would say everything, everything in backstitch. And one last thing, again, very, very traditional, old school, Noel, with a set of bells, holly, ribbon. So yeah, these are things that I will always cherish, and I'm grateful that I'm grateful to have them in my possession. So thanks, Mom. Thank you. One last thing, and one last thing. I talked about my couple of advents that I had going on this year. One was from a company called Sajou. They're based in France, and they do fripperies and haberdasheries and needlework and sewing related accoutrements, fabric, ribbons, floss, needles, any charts, anything like that. And I got the advent from them, and we have the crash after Christmas, and I thought that it would be kind of a nice thing to do through the month of January. So keep an eye out for my Sajou unboxing in January. And in the meantime, I also had my second advent was from a company called Chapelview Crafts. She's a company run by this lovely, charming woman in the UK. She does these polymer clay items that can be needle. I've got a needle minder, a little thread counter, like a pin, and she does charms with hooks that you can use as a stitch counter. If you're a knitter, you can attach them to zipper pulls. And so I got her 12-day advent, and again, I don't know if this is denial or something, but I've not started opening it yet. And I thought, now would be a good time to kind of have a little treat. So let's take a look at a couple of them. So I don't know. I think they're all gonna fall out if they're individually wrapped. They're not numbered. And let's have at it. Okay, I've got two here, and we can open two together. So thank you for hanging around if you're still with me. And let's see what we have. Merry Christmas, right? So she has some, just her regular collection is beautiful. She also did some, meow, my cat's here. She did some holiday specific designs, and she has a staple of her standard elements as well. Look at this. Look at, he says, look at. I don't know how to show this off. Is that, let me hide behind my, it's a little stack of mini macarons. How sweet is that? And the level of detail really is beyond exceptional. I mean, for anyone who makes macaron out there, you'll know one of the hallmarks of a good macaron is that little feathered foot below each of the cookies. Below each of the discs when you assemble the macaron, there's a little ruffly edge on the bottom when the top of the biscuit rises, and you're left with this little frilly lace edge. And she even got that detail right. Really very, very charming. It was not intentional. And we'll do number 2. 2 days away from Christmas, so we'll do number 2. I have no idea what it is. Oh, it's a little millefeuille. There we go. Oh, with the signature feathering on top. Look at that. Red, pink, orange, and yellow. They're so sweet. Well, and sweet. Although this is kind of the calorie-free version. Oh my God, wow, these are awesome. So yeah, I'll definitely put these to good use somewhere, somehow, some way. So that is it, folks. I think we're done. Plans, I don't know what we're going to do for next year. I think, like I said, I want to finish up my whips that I have on the go. And I want to do my Modern Folk Embroidery, the 2023 Stitch Along. I will probably focus on finishing the Frisian band sampler, also Modern Folk Embroidery, and let's see what I can do with my little Ukrainian Christmas ornament here, if I can get my act together and have a chart ready for a giveaway for that as well. So anyway, thank you for joining me. We made it to the end, and I really appreciate you sitting down with me and spending time with me. I really can't tell you how much I value it. And I hope that you treasure each other's company and keep warm, keep well. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Yule, etc. And giving you all my best. And I think the next time we'll talk is in the new year. So until then, see you next time.